The Archers. Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger made 13 films together under this logo. Although Powell produced Peeping Tom alone, the bullseye appropriately introduces the film's first image, an opening eye. The eye opens onto a street. A man approaches a prostitute to the sound of a faint whistling. A 16mm camera, hidden under his duffel coat, carries the man's movement forward. The film's camera is forced out of focus and subordinated to the voyeuristic camera eye, and so is the audience. We see the space between the one who's watched and the one who's surreptitiously watching.
It'll be £2.
There's no voyeuristic thrill in this male-female sexual encounter. The spectator's gaze is not erotically involved, not glamorized, but insistently absorbed into the camera's tracking movement, tracking its prey. For a moment, the camera's aggressive look is stopped with a cut. And then it continues inexorably on its way.
Shut the door.
When the spectator's look is aligned for so long with the camera's, paradoxically, they both become self-conscious, and the film begins to parody the presumption that the camera's look is male and absorbs even the women in the audience. Its aggression and its insistence raise questions about the cinema itself, how it appeals to voyeuristic instinct. The gas fire, the nylon stockings, the poor bed set. For a moment, the film's social observation overwhelms its voyeurism. But then, as Dora begins to get undressed, the scene changes again. Almost imperceptibly, voyeurism shifts to its close associate, sadism. As the camera's active look bears down on its passive object, the music begins, and the space created by looking is closed by fear. Dora sees something, and her eyes freeze with terror. A camera records a scene, one specific moment in time, which is then fossilized in time. Once projected, that moment can be replayed and repeated. The camera's look at a scene becomes the spectator's look at the screen. Here, the different times of spectatorship are doubled up again. The screen changes size. It shifts between the time of the story, when Mark is watching his film, and the time when any audience watches Peeping Tom in the cinema. While the credits roll, these layers of time that are usually invisible become uneasily visible for the audience of Peeping Tom. The story is showing us an extreme, a perversion, but it also reflects outwards onto the cinema's intrinsic fascination with looking and the ease with which it can make Peeping Toms of us all. The credits, superimposed on the 16mm projection, is a reminder that the makers of Peeping Tom are also, on their side, complicit. The name of the director of photography is superimposed on the climax of the sequence, and the name of the director is superimposed on the projector.